What's up, Define Nation, and welcome to another episode of Define Your Health with Danielle Girdano, strength through knowledge. And today, folks, knowledge, core component of what we are talking about today. Now, you know, I always encourage an active lifestyle and to get outdoors, and so many benefits to being outdoors and exercising, both emotional and physical, of just being in the outdoors with fresh air and beautiful sunshine. But I'm also an advocate of being safe. And today our very special guest is Jeremy Muleman, who is a representative of an amazing company that I just love called Giro, who, I mean, I love your helmets. Primarily, I think that's all you do is helmets, correct, Giro?
No, actually, Giro makes a number of cycling-related products.
There you go.
As well as snow ski helmets, but all about an active, lifestyle sports company. I
totally set you up. I knew that. But he's like, don't do that to me. Well, Jeremy, one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on, one, I am passionate about the technology that Giro puts in their helmets. Now, you've been a cyclist and an outdoor enthusiast for 24, 25 years. So you're also well-versed being on the athlete side of safety, not just on the product side of safety. And, with the accident that I had a few months ago, which delayed the Highway for Health project, it really drove home the importance of having a good quality helmet. And, in my case, I felt very fortunate because of the way that I hit it, the impact that I did. And I was able to be discharged and walk away. And, recently we just had Mark Barisa, who is the head of neurology over at the Baylor Rehabilitation Institute. And he was talking about how cycling, there's been such an increase in concussions and head injuries. And part of that, I think, is due to just the greater number of people enjoying cycling. But the evolution of helmets, that's where I want to start this conversation. What is kind of your viewpoint of how helmets have evolved? We can look at the way that football players used to wear leather, and now we have high-impact helmets.
Certainly, they definitely have. Giro started making helmets back in 1982, and the helmet technology hasn't changed, a great deal until just, recently. Helmets are made from a material that's designed to reduce the energy or the impact. And whether that's a foam or a very common material that we use is what's called EPS. It's expanded polystyrene. These products are actually, they start as little plastic pellets that are inserted into a mold, and as they heat, they expand, and then they are designed to crush on impact or to remove the energy or take away the energy that could affect your brain.
So, in essence, taking that energy away from the impact on the actual brain itself, the skull, and then the brain is a secondary impact on the inside.
Yes, absolutely. And they've made a lot of improvements over the last few years as far as in weight and ventilation and style. But we're making new advances today and new findings.
Well, and absolutely. And I think, I'm obviously a big advocate of the MIPS technology, and I know we're going to talk about that today. I don't want to see any of my friends riding without a MIPS helmet, but can you talk about the kind of the testing procedures? Because we kind of talked about the structure of the helmets, the way helmets are actually tested, because I don't think you can find a helmet, well, maybe you could today, that's sold in, reputable stores, like the Richardson bike Mart or performance bikes or something like that. But how do they actually test these helmets? How do they test the quality or how much impact is actually taken? Okay,
yeah, that's a great question. So we have a facility based in Northern California where we have what's called the Dome, and we have an amazing array of tests where we do drop tests on helmets and test at different temperatures and different distances to be able to test the impacts of a helmet. It's very difficult we always say we could build the perfect helmet if you could tell us exactly how you're going to crash.
Yes.
But
so unpredictable.
It is very unpredictable. Giro actually leads the way in innovation, I believe, in testing and development. And we try to make helmets that are going to reduce any energy or as much energy as they can towards your brain.
And now, is there a difference between a helmet made for a child and a helmet made for an adult when it comes to the materials that are used or the way they're tested?
No, I mean, we have certain safety standards that are set up by different governing bodies and agencies, and we try to meet or exceed any of those standards and follow, just certain guidelines that are set out there.
All right. Well, we are going to get right back into this, but I need to cut to a commercial break. Jeremy, remember, Defy Nation, this segment is brought to you by Total Balance Apparel. Harmony in the parts of a whole, creating, evolving, and continuously seeking balance. Visit them today at TotalBalanceUSA.com. Hey, Defy Nation, this is Danielle, and I have to let you guys know about Total Balance Apparel. Harmony in the parts of a whole to create, evolve, and continuously seeking balance in the quality of life and environment are the driving factors and thoughts behind Total Balance. These principles come to life in the designs and the collections. Their 2015 collection is absolutely amazing, totally a trendsetter. Don't just live your balance, wear it. More than a brand, it's your lifestyle. Check out their 2015 line at TotalBalanceUSA.com. That's TotalBalanceUSA.com.
For 20 years, Nordic Naturals has been dedicated to making the best fish oil on the planet. Their motivation? The heartfelt belief that a single nutrient can change lives. Their love for what they do and the people they do it for drives them to do it right at any cost. That means products that are outrageously fresh, obsessively tested, and passionately perfected. Products that taste so pure, you'll love them. Try Nordic Naturals award-winning omega-3s today and taste pure love. Available at natural product stores nationwide or at NordicNaturals.com.
And we are back at Defy Nation with our very special guest, Jeremy Muleman, and he is a representative of an amazing company called Giro. Extensive line of several different types of products. I know I set you up on that first segment. And, Defy Nation, we've been really talking about kind of the evolution of helmet safety and where it has come, what kind of materials it's made out of. But Jeremy, here's a question for you, and I think that possibly there's some misunderstanding in the cycling world or among the general population. How long is a helmet, quote unquote, good for? How long can you keep that helmet before it might not have the same impact, no pun intended, as it did the first day you bought it?
Yeah, that's a great question. And first of all, we always say that if you have an accident and you actually the helmet hits the ground, that you should replace your helmet. I mean, these helmets are often designed for one impact. But if there is no impact or damage to the helmet, we typically will tell people that they should replace their helmet every 4 years. That seems to be a good general rule of thumb as far as on how long you should have your helmet.
And this would also apply to youth helmets versus adult helmets. I want to make sure we have a good correlation.
Yeah, we don't differentiate between youth helmets and adult helmets as far as the amount of time that they should keep. Obviously, with kids' helmets, they can outgrow them prior to having to replace them just due to breakdown.
Well, that's what happens when you feed them. They grow. They sprout. That. Your son probably sprouted on you too, grow out of all kind of helmets. Well, and here's something that I want to address too, specifically here in Texas. Even though there's kind of that 4-year umbrella, what about heat? Because it's my understanding that heat can warp a helmet, and actually it should be replaced if it is not taken care of, or if it's exposed to high heat, which if you leave it in the car, if you're out at White Rock or one of the other cycling paths around Dallas and you leave your helmet in the car, it's very easy to get well beyond 100 degrees very, very quickly. So what about heat or extreme weather?
Yeah, we test for heat and cold, and but we do recommend, as much as you can, keep the helmet in a kind of a climate controlled area. I often tell people here, make sure you don't store your helmets up in your attic, or keeping it in an area where it's climate controlled is the best long-term standard for keeping your helmet in good condition.
So cold can also have effects as well as heat.
Yeah, extreme ranges certainly can.
Okay, so don't keep your helmet in the garage.
Well, I often keep my helmet in the garage.
Okay. Well, never mind. Well, I'm going to keep mine inside my house. How about that? I'm going to play it safe.
There you go.
I'm going to play it safe. So, real briefly, I want to get away from cycling just for a moment. I want to talk about skiing, because skiing is another, obviously, high-velocity sport, where if there is an impact, very unpredictable on how that's going to happen or what angle or the actual how great the impact actually is. My words are escaping me for a moment, but what about ski helmets? How do they differ from cycling helmets? Is the materials the same? The technology? Is it every 4 years? Kind of give us as we're going into the winter months here.
That's a great question. And actually, I just got back from skiing this last week. So Giro is one of the leaders also in making snow ski helmets. In fact, we've been making those since 2002. The basic construction of the helmets are similar. Obviously, the shape with cycling, we often will make them, for greater ventilation and, almost a little less coverage in certain areas, where with snow helmets, they're obviously designed to, be working out in extremely cold conditions, and helmets do provide quite a bit of warmth, but obviously the primary goal is the concern of safety. And so there are standards that have to be met for individual sports, which we test to those, but the basic construction is very, very similar, but obviously the differentiation between the two sports and the goal of the helmet.
Winter and summer, don't forget the helmet, no matter what.
There you go.
No matter what, there you go. And Jeremy, I know one of the places here in Dallas that you can buy Giro helmets is the Richardson Bike Mart. And that's who we're actually going to cut away to a commercial break right now. And remember, Define Nation, this segment is brought to you by the Richardson Bike Mart, when quality, professional service, and true expertise matters. Think Richardson Bike Mart. Visit them today at bikemart.com. Hey, Define Nation, this is Danielle. Now, you guys all know that I'm an avid cyclist, and the love of cycling has only grown from my first spin of the pedals. Because of my love for the sport, Richardson Bike Mart is my only choice when it comes to equipment, accessories, and the most knowledgeable cycle experts in DFW. Their massive selection is only outshined by the extent of cycling expertise and caring by the staff. Remember, choosing a bike is personal and precise, so make Richardson Bike Mart your only choice too. Visit them today in Frisco off John Hickman Parkway, Dallas off of Garland Road next to White Rock Lake, or the Richardson location at Campbell and Coit. Check them out at bikemart.com. That's BIKEMART.com. Hey, Define Nation, this is Danielle from Define Your Health Strength Through Knowledge. When I'm out racking up the miles on my bike, safety is always top of mind, and that's why Giro is the only choice when it comes to my protective headgear. Giro uses the latest innovative proven technology of MIPS, that's multi-directional impact protection system. In both their snow and biking helmets, Giro is first-rate and first in innovation. Giro is on the cutting edge of a new frontier through safety of the rider and championing the spirit. There simply isn't a better helmet, whether you're hitting the road or on the slopes. Be daring and live your dreams. Always be safe with Giro. Visit them today at Giro.com. That's GIRO.com. And we are back to Define Nation with our very special guest, Jeremy Muleman, who is an avid cyclist for the past 24 years, out in the outdoors in fresh air, and we are talking about safety, specifically when it comes to helmets. We just finished up the last segment talking about ski helmets, but I want to come back to cycling helmets because we are in Texas. We do have more nicer days than we have snow days, I would say, here. And the one thing I really want to get into that I am absolutely passionate about is the MIPS technology. And when I had my accident, it's my opinion that MIPS made all the difference in the world between me being able to be discharged and me not being able to be discharged that particular day. And I wish I could give every cyclist in the Dallas Fort, I wish I could give every cyclist across the world a MIPS helmet. But not very many people know what MIPS is. So tell us first, exactly what is the technology of MIPS?
Okay, thanks. MIPS is it stands for Multi-Directional Impact Protection System. Basically what MIPS is it's a slip plane that has been inserted into a helmet that may help in rotational impacts. We find that there are, two primary types of accidents that you can have. You can have basically linear impacts or rotational impacts. And in rotational impacts, you can get where basically the brain kind of twists inside the skull. The first line of defense for the brain is actually cerebral spinal fluid that basically surrounds the brain that serves to protect it. Well, the MIPS system is a slip plane that sits inside the helmet that almost serves the same purpose, that just allows that extra layer of protection that may help to may save your life. Obviously it depends on the type of accident or the type of impact that you have.
And an example of a rotational fall would be, if you can kind of give us a real world example. I'm riding down my bike, I'm on a nice smooth flat road, a dog runs out in front. What's an example of a landing where it would be a rotational versus a linear?
Well, often what happens whenever you have a rotational, you have forward movement or forward momentum. And whenever you hit, you have a tendency to kind of tumble or to rotate. If you almost think about taking and throwing a tennis ball, and whenever it, hits the ground, the friction of that hitting will often cause it to spin or to twist.
Heels over head. That's what we call it.
It certainly is not anything that you ever want to personally
No,
experience. So,
it's not.
I'm really excited about the MIPS technology. I think that over the last 15 years, the helmet industry has kind of focused more on, on weight and ventilation and style and design. Because the laws haven't changed as far as what's required of a helmet. We've been trying to make them lighter and, better ventilated and still meet, high safety standards. But this technology is new. We've been working with them now for a few years, and we believe in what we see with it. Obviously we like to see people's lives saved, and so we want to improve our helmets any way that we can.
And so basically, comparing a helmet with MIPS to a helmet without MIPS, and correct me here if I'm incorrect, or give your own explanation. It can protect you against a wider range of types of falls. Is that a fair way to say it, or no?
No,
or it depends on the fall.
Yeah, it totally depends upon the impact and and how you hit. We can't claim that one system is going to provide greater protection. We see very positive results with helmets that have MIPS in certain types of accidents. It's a great technology.
So how would you say that the MIPS technology is transforming the helmet industry? I mean, because it's obviously having an impact. So how, in your opinion, how is it really being a catalyst?
I think it's really, it's helping put it at the forefront of, a helmet being for safety. It's really, that's what it is. It's a protective, it's a protection piece, and the goal of the helmet is to really save lives, and obviously we all like the ones that, that look cool and they're lightweight or they have great ventilation, but, the ultimate goal of a helmet is to protect your head.
And Jeremy, I think it's a true statement to say it is revolutionizing the helmet industry, because MIPS was invented by brain surgeons. No pun intended.
Yeah, no, certainly that's where it started, and who better to talk to you about the with that kind of technology than somebody that has to work on head injuries all the time.
Absolutely. Definitely on the front lines there, in the trenches, as they say. So in your opinion, what is the future of helmet technology, of safety? How, in your opinion, do you see this evolving and transforming?
We're seeing a number of companies now embrace the MIPS technology, and I believe that everybody that makes helmets wants to see, any advances or anything positive in the way of protection, being added into it. So I hope to someday see more helmets having the MIPS, technology built into it, and maybe even someday it'll be a requirement. So just have to see how it grows.
That would be nice. And let me ask you, do you wear a MIPS helmet?
I do wear a MIPS helmet. Absolutely.
I think that says a lot.
Yeah, no,
I think
I'm certainly going to, anything that I see that could add a benefit in, safety and protection, I certainly want to keep it.
All right, and Jeremy, so you being a cyclist yourself and being an outdoor enthusiast for so many years, what's your top tip for someone picking out a helmet? What do you look for when you go buy a helmet? Obviously with MIPS, but
Yeah, no, so I always tell people that the first thing is to find one that fits your head, the one that's comfortable, because, the helmet that works is the one that you're wearing.
Yes.
And if they're not comfortable, typically we find people don't want to wear them. So, I think that, finding a helmet that fits you properly, that's been sized by someone that knows, how to fit helmets, and then, finding one that fits the style that you like. Obviously I believe in finding one that has the MIPS technology built into it, but finding one that you like the looks of and like the feel of, the colors right, and the venting and all those things, because ultimately, just wearing a helmet is of the utmost importance.
So the one big takeaway is make sure the helmet is on, and in my opinion, make sure there's a MIPS helmet, but make sure that you have a helmet, and start kids out early with a helmet too. Yeah,
I totally agree with that. Accidents, you don't know when they're going to happen. Sometimes it's not it's not your own fault or your own expertise. As far as on a bicycle, you might have someone else that cuts you off, or someone that gets in the way. So there's just wearing a helmet is the number one thing that I recommend for people to do.
And if people want to find out more information on MIPS and research, obviously you can go to YouTube, but Giro.com actually has some really great videos and just drawings, and for people really to get a grasp of this technology, correct?
Yes. If you go to Giro.com/MIPS, it'll list a bunch of the different helmets that we offer that offer the MIPS technology, and then there's some great little tutorial videos and some line art drawing that we're doing to explain the technology, and they do an amazing job with just breaking it down in very simplified terms.
Well, and knowledge is power, and the more that people understand, sometimes it's not as much this is what I should do as this is why I should do it.
It's great. I think that everybody should check it out there and hopefully learn more about the product.
Well, Jeremy, I appreciate you coming and visiting us today. Maybe we go ride out at White Rock in the spring.
That'd be great.
Because I don't do cold.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Defy Nation, remember, we are going to post that trivia question for the $500 prize pack via our social media outlets. The trivia question is, yes, going to come from this show. It might just be about MIPS. Until next time, remember, motivated, dedicated, and highly recommended. Bye-bye.